Hey guys, I've put another 1,000 miles, give or take, on the car, and I figured I'd create another video to sort of extend off the first video about my impressions of the car. I want to talk about, the things that I've uncovered, observations that I've made, as well as some of the additional modifications that I've done. I guess the first topic would be rev hang. I think this is more the driver than the car, and I would say that at this point I've learned to drive around the rev hang, or drive with the rev hang, changing my shifting style as well as my throttle input. So 75% of the time it's not an issue, it's a non-issue, and really no complaints about it. The other thing that I've noticed is the power steering, or the electronic power steering. I know I mentioned that it was solid, and that if you had never told me it was electronic power steering, I wouldn't have known. I kind of take that back. I still don't have any complaints about it, and I think it's great. But after driving my other car back to back, which has hydraulic power steering, there's a subtlety there that's missing. And what I mean by that is, you'll go over bumps in the road with the electronic the electronic steering box, and it won't pull. The steering wheel won't tug in your hands. Whereas with the hydraulic one, it'll tug, it'll give you some feedback, you'll have to kind of hold it straight. And I think that's a little bit of numbness. So in my previous videos, I was complaining about lack of feedback from certain touch points in the car. The clutch, the gas pedal, and I didn't mention the steering wheel, but having driven an electronic and a hydraulic back to back, I would say there's something missing there. It's not a lot, and it's not a make or break, but I think it's, as a driving purist, I would consider that different. And maybe that might add to the lack of sensation of speed, because it's just so smooth, right? And usually as you speed up and you go over the road, you can kind of feel the road and the steering wheel will tug at you. And this car just doesn't have that feedback. But really not a big complaint, just sort of an observation. My clutch, I've noticed that when it's cold and I step in, there's a slight whirring sound. I don't think that's an issue. I think other people have reported that it's a problem. When something goes wrong, I'll take it to the dealership. I also get a strange smell on startup, and it doesn't happen all the time. For the last week, I haven't smelled anything, so I'm not really sure what's causing it. The car drives fine. Outside of that smell, I don't think there's anything wrong, so I'm just gonna leave it be until something happens to the car and then bring it in. What else here? I've developed a slight rattle coming from the armrest, and I've got the armrest that extends up, and it's the button that you push that lets the armrest pop up. It rattles around, and that is actually the most annoying thing that I've encountered so far in the car. So I'm planning on getting that fixed, probably bring it to a dealership or take it apart myself and see if I can pad it up so it's not as loose. Otherwise, the car's been really good. It's a phenomenal sports car that doubles as a daily driver, and I'm a little sad that I commute in it and sit in traffic all day, but it's an easy car to drive, and I absolutely adore it. I do want to touch on best practices about this car. So just want to put it out there that I have the oil temperature gauge on my 3-gauge dash, whatever you want to call it. And personally for me, when I wake up in the morning, I don't let the car idle. I hop right in, fire it up, and get going. The other thing I do is I try to keep my throttle input below 45% and keep the RPMs below 3,000 until the oil temp has reached about 180, 185 degrees. Right, then I'll progressively kind of get onto it, or get on the car until it reaches about 200 to 210, and that's when I'll go straight to redline if I want to. I think that's just the best practice. It's going to help the longevity of your engine versus kind of just flooring it right off the bat. And that's just sort of my standard operating procedure. You may find people who say that you can get on the car earlier, or put in more throttle, or rev it to a higher RPM. I'm just playing it safe. I just want to share that with you guys. I have done a few modifications to the car. I've added the tap turn module, so I can just tap this turn stop and it'll blink a set number of times. Love that feature. Absolutely think it's worth the, I don't know, $85, give or take, whatever it may be. The other thing I like about the tap turn module is that when I lock or unlock the car, it turns or lights up all the turn signals. Again, really like that feature. I have also installed some LED fog lights. So I bought a few sets off of a manufacturer in Taiwan, and essentially it's the same set that you get off Speed. Got 10 sets and plan on selling them on the forums or to some friends below the price that you're going to see at Speed. I'm selling them at cost plus including shipping and PayPal fee, so it's like 75 bucks. I love the fog lights. They're bright. I've got them in yellow. I think they're cool. Sort of just a styling cue. It doesn't really do anything performance oriented. I have added a parent brake brace to the master cylinder, and I think it's just one of those mods that provides a little bit of subtle feedback in the brake pedal, and I'm very happy with it. It's much easier to install than the previous generations. I opted for the parent brace because it's a one-piece design, whereas the Cusco design is two pieces welded in the center. But I was talking to a material engineer, and he was telling me that the weld may actually turn out strong if done properly. The weld will turn out stronger than the actual metal used in the two pieces. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just a preference. Pick whatever you like. I've got some rally armor mud flaps coming just to protect the paint, and then I've got an access port that's on its way. I actually really don't plan on flashing the car with a new tune, just because the engine's so new in terms of the number of years that Subaru has used it. But it was on sale, so I figured I'd buy it and save it for later. The last thing that I am kind of preparing to do for this car is alignment. I've been slowly collecting tools to do the alignment myself, and hopefully come the spring would have gotten a few alignments under my belt for the autocross, which should be cool. I'm excited about that, doing my own alignment. It should be tons of fun. Anyways, that's where the car is at. I'm really enjoying it. It's a great sports car as a daily driver, and I have no complaints. If you're on the fence about buying the car, you know, go test drive one yourself and come to your own conclusions, but I don't think you'll be disappointed. Alright, we'll see you guys in another 1,000 miles.